Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for June 17th, 2014. And it is a hot and humid weather pattern out there this morning. Now look at the influence on the Atlantic Ocean on our weather pattern. This is really interesting. Over portions of Connecticut and Long Island, with a southwesterly wind coming right off the Atlantic, you have temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s. However, the rest of the New York City metropolitan area, especially all of New Jersey and the Philadelphia metropolitan area, range anywhere from the upper 70s to lower 80s already and rising rapidly, with high temperatures this afternoon breaking 90 degrees in the Philadelphia metropolitan area and in the upper 80s to lower 90s in the New York City metropolitan area. Meanwhile, portions of Connecticut, especially southern Connecticut and Long Island, will rise into the lower to mid 80s with that influence from the Atlantic Ocean. So, location, as always, matters in meteorology, and in this case, if you are on Long Island, you are definitely reaping the benefits of a cooler Atlantic Ocean. So, is there going to be a threat for thunderstorms today? Well, there's an isolated threat. I'm going to show you why in just a second. Here we have the surface map. Now, here's our high pressure system around Bermuda, locking in, producing a nice southwesterly wind from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up into the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan areas. However, we have these pesky low pressure systems and disturbances producing some dynamic severe weather over the portions of the northern plains, central plains, and the upper Midwest. These disturbances will race towards the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area late this evening and tonight. The issue, though, is that these disturbances are weakening. So, for one, they'll be nowhere near as strong as what you're seeing on TV in portions of Iowa, Nebraska, where you're getting these very severe thunderstorms with tornadoes. They'll be nowhere near as strong, but they'll be capable of very heavy downpours, frequent lightning, hail, and wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. The thing that is a bit of a tricky factor here is that as these thunderstorms dive south and east, they'll weaken. They'll produce other boundaries in the area called outflow boundaries, and that will also ignite thunderstorms. So tonight into tomorrow morning, it's more of an isolated threat. But moving forward for Wednesday and Thursday, it becomes a widespread threat, especially Wednesday night into Thursday morning as a stronger cold front moves through the region. On the radar, you can see a remnant of one thunderstorm complex that moved through very early this morning around 3 a.m., only producing a few showers by the time it got to the New Jersey coast, but produced some pretty good thunderstorms over portions of eastern Pennsylvania last night with some occasional lightning and heavy downpours. This is kind of an appetizer to what's on the way over the next couple of days. And you can see the thunderstorm complex is developing very nicely over Michigan, and this is what eventually will reach the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area overnight in the form of showers and strong to severe thunderstorms. On the visible satellite picture, you can see the sun rising there. That's what that line is. That's the sunrise. And you can see that we're clearing out very nicely, and that's going to allow us to warm up and destabilize the atmosphere. Now you see this little boundary, this little trough here. This is going to be something to watch this afternoon and evening for the potential for thunderstorms to develop along this boundary and then dive south and east. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with here in this type of weather pattern. It's not just these cold fronts and low pressure systems, but it's also the lingering boundaries that are left over from those passing thunderstorms that will keep us on our toes for this afternoon and especially in the evening and overnight hours as all of these disturbances interact with this hot and humid air mass that's in place over the region in the next 3 days. And that's a little bit of a good news here, is that we're only going to see these hot temperatures today, tomorrow, and Thursday. By the time we get to Friday, temperatures back off, and Saturday and Sunday really isn't all that bad. A bit unsettled, which I'll explain why in just a moment, but certainly much cooler and far more comfortable. On the water vapor satellite picture, a few aspects I want to point out. One, our North Atlantic trough is starting to reload and reset itself, and so that's what's allowing this ridge to build northward, thus us becoming much warmer. Once this trough becomes reinstated over the northwestern Atlantic, this heat wave comes to an end, and much cooler temperatures take hold. Meanwhile, a nice trough over the Pacific Northwest is driving these disturbances up through the northern plains, pretty much peaking around the Great Lakes and then diving south and east towards the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Remember, in the summer, the wavelengths are much shorter, so you can end up with a trough in the west and a trough in the east with a nice little ridge over the plains, producing a nice little heat wave from basically Oklahoma all the way through the southeast coast. So basically, the jet stream is like this, rises and falls with a nice little ridge here. And so that's pretty much the way our summer pattern is going to be setting up, I think, as we move forward. So let's take a look at the European model guidance on the Penn State EWOL website. Again, for this afternoon, basically hot, hazy, humid. The 3 H's are in effect, with the threat for isolated thunderstorms this evening into the overnight hours. Stress the word isolated this evening. I think the bulk of the showers and thunderstorms will be focused towards the St. Lawrence River Valley and the Ohio River Valley. Temperatures this afternoon will rise into the lower to mid 90s in the Philadelphia metropolitan area, upper 80s to lower 90s in the New York City metropolitan area, and lower to mid 80s over Long Island and southern Connecticut. For tomorrow, it gets a little bit more interesting because this trough starts to dig a little bit further south. So we're going to be a little bit closer to some of the dynamic energy driving this whole weather pattern. So as a result, the afternoon will be hot and humid once again. We'll have temperatures in the morning in the upper 60s to lower 70s. High temperatures in the lower to mid 90s in the Philadelphia metropolitan area, upper 80s to lower 90s in the New York City metropolitan area, and mid 80s along Long Island. In the afternoon and evening, we'll see clouds increase, some thunderstorms develop, and then the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorm complexes dropping south and east tomorrow night into Thursday morning, and some of these thunderstorms could be rather impressive. On Thursday, that trough digs a little bit more. Look at that trough starting to redevelop over the northwestern Atlantic. That cold front drops south with the potential for showers and thunderstorms at any time on Thursday. Temperatures are going to be very warm and very humid. There's going to be a pretty good potential for some localized fog that will reduce visibility below a mile. Looking at low temperatures in the lower to mid 70s, that's pretty sultry. High temperatures in the lower to mid 90s over much of the New York City metropolitan area and Philadelphia metropolitan area, mid to upper 80s over Long Island, with again the threat for scattered strong to severe thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours. Then finally on Friday, that cold front drops south, high pressure starts to take control, still a threat for showers in the morning, and then clearing skies in the afternoon. Much cooler. Low temperatures in the mid 60s, high temperatures in the lower to mid 80s, pretty much back to where we should be for this time of year. And then for Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have more of an influence from the Canadian Maritimes. And that, of course, means a return to scattered to broken cloud cover, a threat for a few isolated to widely scattered showers. Most locations will remain dry, much cooler. Low temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Now, I'm going cooler than what the GFS MOS guidance is going. I'm leaning more on the European model guidance on this one for this weekend. So, looking at temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s, high temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s, few mid 80s possible in the Delaware River Valley. And that's going to be in place for Saturday, Sunday, and for Monday, as we fall under the influence of more of a marine air mass rather than this tropical air mass. And that means below normal temperatures, unsettled conditions, but most locations remain dry. That's your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. As always, stay safe out there.